Hey guys, woo! Welcome to Appalachia's Homestead. We are working hard today, working in the garden. What I'm working on mainly is my tomatoes. That is the goal. When you're gardening, you need to set goals for each day so you don't get overwhelmed by the whole thing, because no matter what type of gardening you do, you're going to fight issues from pests to disease and even weeds, right? So I'm revamping this area, and in a very short time, things have gotten crazy because we had a lot of rain, and then it was really nice, and then it got in the 90s really fast. And here in East Tennessee, humidity is high, and that causes a lot of issues, okay? So you need to be careful when you're out working. First of all, for you, make sure you have on your sunscreen and your hat, which I've taken my hat off and done my hair back so you can see my face because of the shadowing. But what I'm working on are my tomatoes right now, okay? Weeds and tomatoes. So I'm going to go over a few quick tips. I have several videos on all of this, but it's a good reminder because when you start hitting about mid to late June, if you've planted anytime in late April and through May, you're really going to have to assess what's going on with particularly your tomatoes, okay? This is when you start seeing things like pests and overgrowth and weeds and blight. Well, let me tell you what I do. And overall, this generally works well. So today is committed to my tomatoes. So I'm going to verbally tell you what I'm doing and what I'm going to be doing, and hopefully attach some stuff to that. First of all, you need to look at your tomato plants, okay? So like right here, and let me tell you right now, I don't care if it's a determinate or indeterminate. I prune my tomatoes because of where I live. So you can read any blog, anywhere, and everybody, just like Nana will tell you, just like a you know what, everybody's got a different opinion. They've got a you know what and an opinion. They're all different. So you can clearly see, look how bushy this has gotten. That's got to go. You got to go. So I'm going to be coming in and I'm going to be trimming on this particular tomato bush and plant because I don't want this, because just keeping it that bushy, all of that, all of this situation is a breeding ground for problems in my area. So let me take you down here and show you clearly what I've done. Somebody's fussing. So what I've done is I've gone in and I'm trimming off extra leaves. You don't need all this leafing. Yes, it's pretty and whatnot. But what happens is, especially up against these cattle panels, they start growing into each other. You want to keep each stem and branch, look at this, all nice and separated and pulled apart. You do not want all this junk and gunk on the bottom. Do you see that? You need to clear away. It needs to be clear and high and mounded up, which I'm working on all of this. I also use aqua cones. So here's the deal. So you don't want leaves, you don't want growth bushing in on each other, and you certainly don't want it growing down, touching the ground, because that's where you start having issues from splash up from the ground, which why mulching is good, because that is where you get the issues with blight, okay? So you want to keep all this trimmed up and off. Don't know if you see that, off the bottom, okay? Then what I do is I'm trying to open this up. You see how it's full, and I've got tomatoes and flowering and everything going on really nice, but it's still a little bit open. That is for air circulation. If you've got wet, moist, damp, you know what, that's funky town, and that just breeds more problems. Now, when I planted my tomatoes, I put in a good mix of plant food. The basics for me are Epsom salt, I put in some wood ash, and I put in calcium. You can use crushed eggshells, or you can use like a Tums. I use a Tums per plant. And what I do is I've got these aqua cones here, and look how old these are. Look how good they last. I've used these over and over for about 4 years now. Great. And there is, I need to put some more. I keep sand in the bottom. But what I do, you get these from Gardener Supply Company. And what I do is you literally just, you choose your area here, sand, loam, or clay. You attach the 2 liter, you put a little sand in the bottom, and then you can water them every day. These are wonderful, and there's a good, it keeps the water controlled. It allows you to see how much your plant needs in terms of water, and every tomato plant is different. They will pull water from these differently every single time, okay? So I use these for some plants, but mainly my tomatoes and my peppers, okay? And it works really, really well. So what today I'm gonna do, so here's what I'm doing, is I'm going through, I'm weeding. We're trying to get rid of a bunch of weeds because the environment, we are very hot, we are extremely humid, we expect thunderstorms just about every afternoon. So the weeds love this, right? So I'm going through, I'm trimming them up. I am making sure that I'm having them trimmed up and nice and neat, and then I'm clipping them in an area or two to the actual cattle panel, okay? I'm not using this. I found that sitting on the ground, but I am using these clips. I'll put a link down below if I don't fall down. I'll put a link down below so you can see right there, okay? So I'll come in and I'll put a little clip in right here, or maybe one down here, just to keep it up and sturdy. You can use one, you can use three, however many you think that plant needs is what you do, okay? So I'm getting the weeds up, I'm getting it trimmed up real good off the ground, I'm making sure I've got good air circulation. If you see anything that looks diseased, you trim them off. So here's what I've done, is I brought here a bucket or a bowl, whatever, and in this solution, I've got a mixture of thieves. I do love the Thieves Cleaner from Young Living, and I dilute it. And what I'm doing is each time, even if my plants look good, every time I go in between, and I'm just using, I don't have to do a lot, so I've just got some little scissors or snips, and I will work this plant. And then I will clean this in this solution really good, and I've got a rag and I dry it off. Because it is really a good practice for you to, when you're working in the garden, for you to clean your items, okay? Clean them really good and dry them so you're not passing potential disease from one plant to the next. So I'm doing that. I'm making sure that my aqua cones are working really good, which we know that they are. Today, I'm gonna be adding again a little bit of Epsom salt, teaspoon or so, and I'm gonna add some more calcium. I've already done this, I did it when I planted the items. And I did it about 2 weeks ago, and I'm gonna do it again. The reason you wanna add the calcium in particular is it not only for obvious reasons, but it also helps to keep down bottom or blossom end rot. If you've ever had tomatoes on the end, see on the bottom down here, they'll get that flat black area. That is your blossom or bottom end rot, as they would call it, okay? So I'm trying to make sure that nothing, so basically what I'm doing is I'm going through and I'm doing maintenance. This is a maintenance check. Taking anything that's unnecessary off the plant, make sure that they're pulled up, make sure that they're weeded really well, make sure my aqua cones are working, making sure that the clips are working really well. Because right now is when we are pushing into July. You know, we're a week or we're about 2 weeks away from July 4th, which used to be tomato season for us. Now it's more the end of July. But right now, with the way the weather's working, which you can see I'm just about to break out into a huge sweat because it's so humid, you want to make sure your maintenance is as consistent as possible, and you are checking them not necessarily every day, but you're on it a couple times a week because it can get away from you. So I hope this video helps you. I will tell you again, I've done several videos on these, on the tomato clips. They're fabulous. I use them on my blackberries. I use them on my grapes. I use them on my peas. I've used them, everything. I use them for everything. And you do want to make sure, let me tell you a trick, at the end of the season, make sure you take them down and take them in. If you let them sit out over winter, they're just going to break on you the next spring. You'll have to buy some more. But I'll put the link down below for those. Don't forget about your cleaning your utensils. That's just a no-brainer extra tip. But really, keeping tomatoes, there's not a whole lot of tricks. You just want really good, rich soil. You want to do the basics of keeping the calcium really good. But the main thing is some people just don't agree with this, but I have found if I let my tomatoes go, I might as well just go to the farmer's market. I've wasted my time. We get better results by pruning and trimming and keeping it nice and neat, because by the time we hit about August 1st, they get so massive that they're, it's hard to control them. And that is also another reason why I space mine out. I tried putting mine closer together a couple of years ago with the Florida weave and all that, and it turned into just, in the end, we got a lot of tomatoes there for a while, but then in the end, I realized I think we could have maximized our productivity a little bit more had we spaced it and kept them up. Let me add into addition, so you can see here, exactly what I'm talking about. To me, this is just too much, okay? Too much thickness. You can see I've got blooms, I've got tomatoes, I still have water in my aqua cone over here. So I've already cleaned this. I'm going to dry this off really good, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to start taking some of this off, okay? I mean, you just got to start somewhere, and you can see just by taking off some of the leafing down here that it starts to open up, okay? So you just want to, personally, I just start somewhere. I mean, I know that there's always these particulars. Look here. So we definitely want to get this all open, okay? Look here. This is why we want openness, because I've got all these beauties back here, okay? All these pretty girls. So, and this is your Marglobe, by the way, just so you know. So these are your Marglobe right here. Thought I would try that this year, something new for me. And I will tell you, I like, look here, look here, look here. All these pretty little tomatoes. But guys, I'm telling you, you're definitely going to see a lot of jungle action. So I'm just taking some of this out. What I also want to remind you, which I have not said in the previous segment, is it doesn't, I have no issue, there's no blight, okay? I'm not seeing any issues here, I'm not seeing any problems, but because of the way that the weather is behaving right now, I definitely fear that, you know, I always fear it, we always have that issue here. So it doesn't hurt for you to go ahead and to try to start treating. I'm going to link it above my video on blight, how to fight blight, literally, and how you mix it and what you do. You're going to find me probably repeating some of what I've already told you, but I'm going to link it because let me tell you, I'm going to probably be coming in tonight or tomorrow night and spraying it. You want to add your spray late in the evening because you don't want it to burn your leaves. So I want to make sure that I'm telling you that. So I'm just coming in, I'm just kind of seeing where my tomatoes are, seeing where my flowering is, and removing some of this unnecessary. Now see, this is where I originally clipped back here. See it right there? See how it's kind of, I'm going to have to redo that. It helped it at first, and now that it's all grown, it's all, you know, it's jungled up back there. I don't want that. Clean, open, good air circulation. All right? So that's what I'm doing. All right, so you can see right here at the front, no blossom end rot, doing pretty good. Now look here, coming around to the back. Look here, look here, look here. That is like a major, massive no-no, okay? This is not what you want. This is what I'm talking about. You got to get some of this off. And guys, you know, I hate to tell you, if you let it go, and I'm going to see what I can work with here, you know, you have to make decisions. You have to say, okay, this is coming through. Can I clip some of this back so I can pull this up? That is the goal. But sometimes if you have things that are growing way too far to the ground, sometimes you have to make an executive decision on what's best for the overall plant. Nothing is breaking here. Nothing is really looking off or diseased. But we got to get this up off the ground, okay? We do not want that on the ground. That's not winning. And so we may have to trim some of this off or out so that we can pull it up here. You got to get it up off the ground. Let's see what we can do here. And look at all those maters. Okay, so I've been able to get the first clipping going, and I'll go in and I'm going to make sure that I get, you know, any suckers, see, any extra suckers that I don't want for extra growth. There are some in here, but the goal is to get the main leafing off, which look here, so then I can see what I'm dealing with. So I've been able to bring up one piece right here. So now I've got this. What are we going to do with this? Well, I can tell you right now, look at here. See all these leaves that are growing down? It'll start growing down. That's eventually going to, if I don't get it up and it's, you know, in a good motion of air circulation, it's going to be back on the ground for me. So clearly, I'm going to make a decision to probably remove that. I definitely want to keep some, you know, nice leaves around the tomatoes or whatever. That might be a sucker right there. Can you see it? Whoa, 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 whoa. That might be something I just pinch off. You read about suckers and pinching them off. Again, that's part of the maintenance. So let's keep moving. All right, this is looking much, much better. Much, much better. Gonna keep an eye on it, come in and spray it. Right down here though, when I pulled it up, look. See, this is growing. I've got a little sucker right there. Gonna pinch that off. And then I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna clip this off because what it's gonna do, it's just gonna grow straight down. And I don't wanna compete too much. Come here, you little sucker. I don't wanna compete too much with the good things that I've got going here. Got it? All right, guys, we appreciate you watching. We're gonna keep working. Lots to do. Don't forget all these tips. They will help you out. And we will see you on the next video.